Hello everybody, this is Laura Susan Johnson and you're listening to Period Pieces. I'm going to do my very first review of Terminator Salvation. This will be the first time I have done any kind of review or commentary on Salvation because I have never seen the movie all the way through until just a few minutes ago. I didn't think it would be fair to review it before because I'd never seen anything but just big pieces of it, or small pieces of it actually. Anyway, let me just start by saying it's not the most horrible Terminator movie. I don't even think it's really all that I mean, I don't think it's... Nothing's as horrible as Jenna shit. That was, sorry about that pop noise. Anyway, Jenna shit tops... I think Jenna shit rates as a 0 out of 10, whereas the rest of the movies rate at least a 5 to 6 out of 10, if not higher. At least the other 4 movies have something admirable to contribute to the lore or the stories or something that maybe you might have been curious about that the first 2 movies didn't show you. Like I said, the first 2 movies pretty much, they could have stopped at number 1 and it would have been fine, you know, and ending with her driving down the road into Mexico and just leaving everything to the imagination. Does the war stop? Does the war not happen? Does the war happen? And she just trains her son to become the leader. Is the ending of Terminator 2 okay, where they blow up Skynet and Miles Dyson's work does not get continued? You know, could that have been a good ending and they could have just stopped there? Now, I just read up an article last night where James Cameron lost the rights after number 2, so it's not only that he felt that he didn't really know what to do with the story after number 2, but he lost the rights. I don't understand why he never had full rights to begin with. That was his baby, that was his story, it was his nightmare that conjured up the whole idea. And I just don't understand why he didn't obtain or didn't have the power to lay claim to all the copyright material on that. But maybe he just wasn't a big enough power in Hollywood at that point. I don't know. All I know is I did watch Terminator 3 last night, and I'll review that at a different time. That'll be Then versus Now. And it's not the worst movie of all time either. Terminator Salvation. Let me start by saying McG, it's admirable that he's a fan and that he tried to give a really cool spin on the whole thing. But again, instead of these Terminator robo-snakes, snakinators that infested the rivers and stuff like that, and these gigantic, I don't know, they were pretty cool for capturing human victims, but what were they going to do with those victims once they caught them? What were they planning to do with them? I mean, were they going to, you know, were they the ones that were going to work as slaves and load up dead bodies into incinerators? What were they going to do with them? What were they going to do with Kyle Reese? Why did they put him in that one solitary cell? You know, what were they going to do with him? Did they know already that he was John Connor's dad at that point? There were so many things that I didn't get. And I admittedly watched an edited for TV edition because I watched it on the BBC America, and it was loaded with commercials, and I'm sure there was a few scenes chopped out. I don't know, so maybe I missed something, but I don't know. And Christian Bale didn't make a terrible John Connor as I thought he might. I just didn't understand why, if they built him up to be the leader of the resistance in the previous 3 movies, and then suddenly he's just this sort of second or third in command or something like that, below Mr. Michael Ironside, who naturally always plays a dipshit, asshole, anal retentive prick in every movie he's in. It never fails. He's a dipshit in everything. I mean, from Free Willy to oh God, there's so many movies he's in. He's always the same asshole. He plays the same character and everything. Oh yeah, The Perfect Storm. That's another good example. Doesn't want to listen to anybody's reasoning. Doesn't want to listen to anybody's argument, logic, nothing. He's just anal retentive as hell. Just do it by the book. Doesn't care doesn't care who's gonna die. It's a casualties of war kind of thing. So he's naturally an unlikable character. Oh yeah, another one was Total Recall. So Christian Bale didn't do too bad of a job. I thought he did a pretty good job in it. Sam Worthington. Now Sam Huntington is the one from, I enjoyed him very much in Detroit Rock City and a few other movies, but after that I don't really know where he went. He was in Not Another Teen Movie. So Sam Worthington plays Marcus Wright. In the beginning of the movie, he plays some kind of convict. He's responsible for the deaths of some family members, but they never tell you who or why or what circumstances he killed them. Did he kill them out of... what motive did he kill them? You're never told anything about this guy, so I guess you're meant to assume he's just some dick, just some asshole sociopath who kills people indiscriminately or something. Killed his family for some kind of money, insurance, I don't know. Anyway, spoiler alert, he receives the lethal injection. I don't know what year it's supposed to be in. I didn't really pay attention if there was any kind of caption at the bottom saying what year the movie starts in. Helena Bonham Carter plays some kind of cancer patient who comes in and asks him to donate his body, or donate his organs, donate himself to science after he's gone. He says, well, it won't save you. She goes, oh, well, it'll save other people, I guess, or it'll help others, or something like that. So anyway, after he's gone and she's gone, I guess the Terminator timeline starts back up or something. And at first I was pretty nitpicky about the desert landscape. It's not burnt out, it's not blackened, it's not all charred up, it's not doesn't look like ruins. There's too much plant life, and I still say there was a little bit too much plant life, too many Joshua trees, too many green plants. But at the same time, I imagine a few things could be allowed, given that it might be away from a lot of the fallout zone and a lot of the incineration zone left over by the bombs. And this idea of a sub underneath the ocean being their headquarters, kind of like, what? That was a little stupid. I don't know. At some point, Sam Worthington's character, Marcus Wright, reemerges screaming at the top of his lungs and covered with some kind of oily goo. Don't know what that's supposed to be. And then we suddenly see him walking around in the towns, among the ruins. And he yells out at some figure walking towards him, and then suddenly he's grabbed by somebody else, and it's a young Kyle Reese. Here we have the plus one of the big, huge pluses of the movie. I am so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Anton Yelchin is what I usually say. I don't know, it might be Yelchin. I don't know. I've never heard his name pronounced aloud, by a human mouth. But he's a good actor, and I really liked him in Star Trek, the reboots. So, one of the few things I liked about the reboots was the new Chekhov. So, I liked him in Fierce People. I liked him in Alpha Dog. That was a sad movie, but he was really good in it. And he's a good actor. He's one of my favorite young actors. So he did a really good job playing Kyle Reese as a young 15 or 16-year-old. I was led to believe that at one point they were going to send him through the time displacement machine, but that didn't happen. So I don't know where I heard that, but it didn't happen. So anyway, he gave a really good performance, and he actually studied Michael Biehn's performance from T1. So he really got down all the good, the mannerisms and the speech and the desperation and the way he handled the weapons and the way he evaded the different attacks from Terminators and things like that, machines. And he was accompanied by a little girl named Star who is mute. And they don't ever tell you where she comes from. They never tell you much about her, and I thought she was a very interesting character. But they never bothered to tell you anything about her, how she and Kyle met. She's about, I would say, 10 to 12 years old. I would imagine 11, 12. And she's probably, if Sarah Connor were to if they would have known about this, back in T1, he would have probably said, I had a little friend named Star. And where did she go? Exactly, see? I mean, if they're going to introduce friends and not explain them, why introduce them? I don't understand. I was surprised they didn't kill her off. There was one scene where she went limp, and they had to kind of carry her away from this one scene where there was an attack. I thought she'd been killed, and I thought, well, gee, they just introduced a character just to kill her off. So, she was extremely interesting. I think she was played by a young actress that has kind of like one name, like Jada something. I don't know. In the meantime, we have another plot that was kind of annoying. I love Moon Bloodgood. I don't see her in much, but I like her work for the most part. And at first, she plays pretty much a pretty cool character at first. But then, once Sam Worthington's character rescues her from an attempted rape, gee, how original, she starts getting, or she's thinking with her cooch instead of thinking with her head. She starts, snuggling up to him, and, instead of just leaving him there so that John Connor can figure him out, instead of helping him escape so that John Connor has to go pursue him and then figure him out. She just got really annoying really quick, and it was just another typical, silly-ass woman character. Otherwise, I really liked her. She really started off cool, but I don't know. I forget the actress who plays Kate Brewster Connor, John Connor's wife. She did pretty good, but she was pregnant, and they didn't even talk much about the pregnancy. It was pretty... This movie just... It focused so much on the Snakeanators and the big old robots that were able to reach down and grab people up in their little craws, and I don't know. There was a lot of good stuff in it, and yet there was just so much that they could have done to make it richer and more. It was missing, like I said, it misses kind of the point. that it misses Jim Cameron's point. It misses the soul and the heart of the first two movies, as does T3. But we'll get to that later. What else can I say? I don't know. Yeah, you don't see any time travel. You don't see John Connor say, "Oh, Kyle, I've got to send you back into time." One reviewer just kind of alluded to, "We're gonna send you back." You know, Connor pretty much confronts Kyle Reese and says, "You're my dad. How can I be your dad? How in the hell can I be your dad?" And it's like, what? I didn't see that in this movie at all. It ends with John Connor and Marcus Wright having to confront this, oh my god, cartoon Arnie. It was a cartoon Arnie cameo Terminator. And it beats the shit out of them. They beat the shit out of it. It kind of punches Marcus in the heart. Now Marcus, okay, there's one thing I forgot to mention. Marcus comes back to life after he donated his body to science. He comes back. I guess he was donated to Cyberdyne or Skynet, and he is turned into basically kind of what Jenna shit turned John Connor into, a human Terminator hybrid. Basically, Marcus has his heart, his original brain, and some of his original organs, whatever. Otherwise, he's a metal chassis covered with his own skin. It's just... gee, I don't know what to say except what. And, anyway, during this final fight sequence with the cartoon Arnold Terminator cameo, I guess he punches Marcus in the heart and stops his heart, you know, like that can happen in real life, you know. And so John Connor sort of gives him this defibrillation procedure and brings him back. And then John Connor gets stabbed in the chest and severe chest trauma, and they're planning to try to repair it, but his heart probably can't take it because he's lost too much blood or something like that. So what does the Terminator hybrid Marcus Wright do? He proves his ultimate humanity by giving his heart to John Connor and dying. Okay, so at the very end of this movie, do we even know if John Connor accepts the heart does his body reject it later? You know, that's possible. Do we know they have the same blood type? Well, do we know anything? Because just because a heart transplant works, you know, initially, it doesn't mean months down the road he won't reject it. It's just got a lot of stuff that, unfortunately, I, with my background, say, And it all ends with, they're all gathered around John Connor. And of all the things for him to get those famous facial scars from, a Terminator's bitch claws. So anyway, I don't know. It is extremely entertaining in so many ways, but so much could have been done besides inventing these robo snakes and these other characters that are such a waste. There were so many things that could have been done, so many characters that could have been, you know, fleshed out and explained better, and things that could have been discussed. John Connor's relationship with Kyle Reese was way too sketchy and brief. There wasn't anything much there. He just, aside from him searching for him and giving him his coat, whoop-de-doo. He doesn't even say you're the sergeant or anything, you know. He just says, or he doesn't even talk about who's Perry, you know. Who's Perry? Where's this guy Perry supposed to serve under? This is a reboot. This is like the first attempt at this reboot thing after T3 that they all thought sucked real hard. But it wasn't very good of a reboot. I would give it, I would still say, well, this is my first rating, so I'll give it a good solid 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 at the very most generous. Just about the same rating I would give T3, I guess. So that's my review of Terminator Salvation. It's not horrible. It's not anywhere near as ghastly as Jenna's shit, but it's not perfect either. So, alright. I'll go on to review T3 in just a moment.